Okay, so today we have a special guest, Vladimir. Um, he has a CMOS company. I talked about him before, so we've been able to schedule a conversation. So I'm excited to have him on today. So Vladimir, thank you for coming on today. If you want to give like a brief intro to listeners of who you are.
Thank you for having me. Hi, listener. My name is Vladimir. I've had the CMOS business going on about maybe 2.5 years now. Before actually getting into the CMOS business, I was actually consuming the CMOS for myself. I had a very important friend of mine who was just interested on what I was doing and what CMOS was about. And he just eventually told me, why don't you just start selling the CMOS? And it kicked off from there. A little bit about myself. I'm a father of two. I have two girls. I have a 4-year-old and a 7-month-old. I'm a biologist. I had just got my master's in biotechnology. My main studies and focuses are on cellular gene therapy. It's always been a fascination of mine since a child. I always wanted to know, if you're sick, what's the different alternatives, whether holistic or home remedies, or whether alternative medicines or medicines in general, and how to get better. Kind of inspired me to become more holistic, more herbalistic, and actually look more into CMOS, and here I am today.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So, I want to get into the question. So you, like you said, you're a business owner and you're a biologist. Can you explain to listeners just a little bit more about what your business is and how it ties with the work that you do?
Sure, of course. Through recent studies and everything, especially with biotechnology, we've come up with different concepts in cellular gene therapy to basically find different remedies for different, let's say, like organs that are failing, or immune system, cellular structures, cancer, such and such. To dumb it down, for lack of better words, it's like, let's just say you have a bone marrow that is damaged. We'll take the bone marrow outside of your body, basically find out what type of genes in there that are damaged, come up with an alternative amino acid or a polymer peptide, place it with your marrow, then place it back into your body. And what that does is it makes the gene replicate the new gene that we made up. And what it does is it tells the rest of your genes, like your immune system and everything, to, hey, reproduce these genes instead of keep reproducing damaged genes. And over time, those genes get combat with the genes that we created, making you a healthier individual. Mm-hmm. So we're going to school for quite a while and learning and doing studies about that. It was like an act from God, so to speak, because I was also sick myself. And I needed to find different alternatives to myself that would make me healthy, so to speak. And CMOS was something that just kept popping up over and over and over, whether if it was listening to podcasts or whether if it was like people I interacted with. And then I decided to give it a try. It basically kind of worked with how I work out as a career, so to speak, because CMOS has different types of minerals and vitamins that our bodies were lacking from food. And consuming the CMOS, you basically are healing yourself, versus what I'm doing at work, where I'm taking bone marrow or different cancer platelets or blood platelets, and we're doing all this research to fix the damaged cells or damaged blood cells.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And kind of just piggybacking off of that question, like, you follow a healthier lifestyle, right? And you have a passion for a healthier lifestyle. So, has that did that help you influence, like, to get into CMOS business as well? Like, what did that play a part in you getting into the industry?
Like I said, everything's an act of God. Mm-hmm. So, it actually didn't. See, I was just going to school. I was dealing with regular inner city trauma. I started dealing with a lot of death in my family back to back. Mm-hmm. And I became an alcoholic. With that being said, alcohol began to damage my liver and my kidneys, and I ended up in the hospital for about a month. And they were basically telling me like my kidneys and liver was on its way to check out. I was lacking a lot of minerals and vitamins. They tried to give me different types of supplements. My body wouldn't take it; it would reject it. Finally, I went home. They were giving me I was on a bunch of different medications that basically had me either tired or fatigued. And I remember being home one day, listening to one of my favorite podcasts, and one of the hosts was talking about how he had a lot of energy from Seamoss. So me being me, I just was nosy and started like Googling like what is Seamoss and everything. And everything that I read about how Seamoss was essential to your body, your immune system, the minerals, the vitamins that it will provide, I was intrigued. So I began to purchase Seamoss. I began to purchase the Seamoss gel, but I was so interested on like, you know what, I want to get it raw and actually make the Seamoss gel myself because it's a process. So I first started buying like the capsules from Dr. Sebi's Cell Food website. Then I was like, you know what, how do I make this myself? Because the pandemic had hit and prices had gone up like drastically. Also, he was always out of stock on his website, so I decided to make my own.
Okay. And just to kind of backtrack a little bit, this is like a two-part question. One, just tell listeners the name of your company too, and then also, can you just kind of go a little bit further into what the benefits are of using Seamoss? Like, I know it has like a lot of minerals and a lot of like good things for our body, but just for like people who have never heard of it, can you kind of go into detail about what it is and what it does to the body?
Of course. So my small business is called From Us, From You. From Us for You, Seamoss. The name came from actually my 4-year-old. She just kept asking me like, what am I making? I told her I'm making some Seamoss, and then a friend of mine came to pick it up, and I said, hey, go give my friend the Seamoss, and then she had this little cute statement when she said, this is from us. And then the From You, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to run with that.
Yeah.
So Seamoss is, there's different types of Seamoss that I actually sell. There's the original Irish gold Seamoss. There's the purple. There's a red algae, and as well as the green. The Seamoss is known as Crondus crispus. It's commonly known as Seamoss. It has numerous benefits in like vitamins. It also aids your immune system, as well as gut system. I know a lot of people think, let me just take Seamoss to lose weight or gain muscle. It does you do gain muscle, you do lose weight, but you also build a healthier immune system. You build a healthier digestive system when consuming Seamoss on a daily basis.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. So just one more very important thing that I think like what stood out the most to me when I was doing research on Seamoss was Seamoss contains 92 out of the 102 minerals that your body needs.
Yeah.
We consume a lot of food. A lot of the foods don't actually have the 102 minerals that our body needs. And Seamoss, right off the bat, just 1 tablespoon, you're getting 92 of the minerals that your body needs in order to thrive.
Yeah, that's actually what I was looking for you to say, because I didn't know, I couldn't remember how many minerals it was that is in Seamoss, but I know that's like a big thing about Seamoss. Okay, so the next question is, so you make the Seamoss gel on your own. Can you explain the best ways to use Seamoss, and should it be consumed daily, and how can listeners use it for a healthier lifestyle?
Okay, so just like any other medication, just like a lifestyle, just like a habit in general, if you're not doing it every day constantly, it's not going to work. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Seamoss should be consumed every day. It should be consumed 1 tablespoon a day when you first introduced to it, but throughout time, gradually you can up your dose. I normally tell first time consumers, blend well, mix well in like either drinks, coffee or food, tea if you drink tea. And then throughout time, I do provide flavored sea moss because regular sea moss, like it does have like the sea smell and the sea taste, or it doesn't have a taste at all, but it does have the sea smell. But I do offer flavored sea moss with whatever your favorite fruit is. For example, like mango, pineapple, strawberry, whatever it is. Gradually throughout time, you can actually just take a spoonful and just throw it in your mouth versus putting it in your food. But I recommend and always blend or mix well with any drink or food.
Okay. Yes, definitely. I've tried your flavor one. It's really good. So, and we'll get into that like later on, like how listeners can find you to order. So next question. You are heavily into eating and living healthy. You're vegan. How long have you lived this lifestyle and what influenced you to do so?
I've been vegan for, I want to say, maybe 8 years or more. Reason being, to go back to what I've said before, I was living a lifestyle on the road to self-destruction. Wake up in the morning, I'm drinking. Afternoon, I'm drinking. I was a fully functional drunk, and little did I know that it was damaging my body. And it took that hospital trip for me to realize, I was at the end of my ropes. And what I ended up doing was I just went cold turkey. I went cold turkey with meat, went cold turkey with alcohol. Reason being, while I was doing the research on what sea moss, the benefits of sea moss, I was also doing the pros and cons of my own diet, my pros and cons of my own lifestyle. And I realized it was more cons than pros. So I wanted to switch up my lifestyle a little bit. And I really just went cold turkey. And I think a lot of people always say they either condemn me for hey, that's crazy that you went cold turkey like that, or you shouldn't do that. That's not healthy. But here I am right now telling you, you cut that bad habit out, and you actually begin to see the powerful effects of cutting out that bad habit. I felt once I had done all of that and I started consuming sea moss more, I began to think more. I wasn't fatigued. I wasn't as tired. It's just a lifestyle of mine that once I had changed from being self-destructive, it put me in a position where I began to love myself more. I began to enjoy my surroundings. You understand? It switched up my whole lifestyle.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, and thank you for your transparency too, because I know it's not always something that people are open to sharing, but I think that a lot of listeners will be able to resonate with what you're talking about. So thank you again for being transparent.
Yeah, no problem.
So the next question, we're going to shift a little bit. So you have children, you mentioned. So how has fatherhood played a role in your healthy lifestyle and creating your business? But also, how do you balance between fatherhood, entrepreneurship, and school, and what keeps you grounded?
So first things first, there's no book, there's no menu on parenting. I try to balance everything that I do. To tell you the truth, is my main focus and motivation is their smile. I have a college degree. I've beat alcoholism. I beat depression. I beat anxiety. I beat the statistics of the Commonwealth of Mass. But nothing can reach the accomplishment that I feel when I wake up in the morning and I see my little girls, or if I'm right before I go to sleep and I see them. So it's they're my biggest accomplishment. So for me to change my lifestyle to be healthier, to be around them, to see them have kids and see their kids have kids and kids, that's my motivation. So that pushes me to have a healthier lifestyle. That pushes me to be a better entrepreneur, a better businessman, a better person in general. And as I'm a minority, so that's also an extra push for me. You understand what I'm saying? For a while now, Black men have been labeled as a type of species that just has children and we disappear. I wanted to change that statistic. I wanted to be more involved in my child's life. I wanted to give my child the childhood that I always wanted. You know. With that being said, in order for me to be around more, I have to change my way of life. I have to be healthier. I have to exercise. I have to, eat better. I have to think better. It's not just eating and exercising. You have to think. You have to think different. There's one of your episodes that's like one of my favorite episodes, where it's like, I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's the episode where it's like feel your feels, the emotions. I think it was 10 key things misunderstood in about emotions.
Okay.
And for example, like number 5 is like when you're numbering all of them, number 5 it was about negativity. And what I took out of that is like, in order for you to prosper in life, in order for you to have positivity in your life, you have to accept some of the negatives,
Right.
I had to accept the negativities of like, the death, the inner city traumas that I was facing, my ego, my low self-esteem. I had to deal with all of that negativity in order for me to have positive aspects throughout life. Now I appreciate life. You get what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, no, I definitely understand. And I definitely agree with you on that. So thank you. The next question. So you and I have talked a lot. So I know that you practice meditation. So can you kind of share about how often you meditate and what made you get started with that? And then do you teach that to your kids as well? And can you provide listeners with information about just what meditation does for you and how you may or may not incorporate it in your business and lifestyle?
Okay. So there's a thing that's like fighting demons. So as I was transitioning into who I am now, I was fighting and battling a lot of demons, and my 4-year-old daughter, her godfather is like my best friend, as well as my older cousin. Like I really look up to him a lot. And I used to always notice every time me and him are arguing. I like to argue.
We know.
It doesn't matter what it is. We're arguing about politics. We're arguing about every and anything, health, whatever it is. And he would just go into this, like he would just go into this trance where he just start breathing heavy. And I'm like, my man, you want to fight me or something? He's like, no. And I'm like, dude, I'm asking him questions as he's breathing heavy, whatever. And he's not answering me. Like, this man's in another world. I'm like, my man, you want to fight me or something? What's wrong? Sorry. And come to find out, he's like, no, I'm meditating. Something I've been doing for quite a while. You should try it. Keeps you calm. My very, 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 very first time meditating or anything, I believe me and him took a trip somewhere, and it was a hostile environment. My anxiety was to the roof. I was very agitated. I got in the car, and he was like, man, just try to meditate. And I was like, how? And what he said is just, you don't have to necessarily close your eyes, but you can close your eyes to help. But begin to breathe in heavy, Breathe in, count to 5. Breathe out, count to 5. Breathe in, count to 10. Breathe out, count to 10, Try to hold your breath, and at the same time, try to clear your mind. Whatever is bothering you, try to forget about it, and try to release it. And that happened, probably, I think, 4 years ago. And it's been everything that I do 3 times a day, morning, evening, and before I go to sleep, as well as pray. It's been so much importance into my life that my daughter, my 4-year-old, she will be in public and you'll turn around and you're like, where's Susie at? Her name's Susiana, but we call her Susie. I was like, where's Susie at? And you'll find her in the corner, eyes closed, and she's meditating. And I love it because, after she's done meditating, she's more calm, and she actually is like open-minded. She tells you exactly what's going on. She questions, what's going on like at the moment. I noticed that, when I would meditate, I would have like a calmer demeanor, a more positive demeanor, a more let go, let live demeanor. So if you can, get you a nice little small area. Breathe in, count to 5. Breathe out, count to 5. Breathe in, count to 10. Breathe out, count to 10. Until you feel as if it's like a lightheaded sensation, so to speak.
Right.
It's like you feel really released all the anger or whatever you have, the depression, the sadness, the anxiety. You just become super calm and conscious.
No, I agree. I think actually I got into meditation because of you, because I think I was asking you about it, about how to do it. And then that's when I started doing it, because I remember you taught me a little bit too. But, okay, so thank you for sharing that part. So on your Instagram, you have a quote. It says, "Life's a game. God keeps testing me, but I have open notes and cheat codes." Can you explain a little bit about what you mean by that?
Of course. So I am religious. So the open notes refers to passages, scriptures. The cheat codes, I believe, is prayers. And I feel as if God puts you through different tests to see if you are still a follower, to see if you still abide by the rules. I don't knock anybody's religion or anybody, whatever they believe in or not believe in, but I do believe that there's a higher being that put us here on this earth, and we're not just put here on this earth to live day by day or to just chase money. I feel like it's our duty for us to love one another, respect one another. I feel like there's different tests that I've been put through on my life. I lost my mother at a young age. Right after that, I lost my older brother. I've lost good friends. Alcohol made me burn bridges with a lot of people. I've been put through a lot of different tests, and I felt every time I was put through that test, when I opened that Bible, when I said a prayer before I put my foot on the floor or before I laid my head to rest, I felt like it gave me that energy or that extra boost to keep going instead of giving up.
Thank you. I definitely agree on that. So what advice can you give to somebody who might be interested in changing to a healthier lifestyle, and they want to incorporate sea moss into their diet, but they're not sure if they can trust the product will work?
Of course. Before anything, do what I won't say do what I do, but this is what I do before I consume anything, or if I I want to get heavily involved in something. I just do research. I do studies, I do research, I ask around, read around on it. If you're looking for a healthy lifestyle in general, or just wanting to change your lifestyle in general, you got to remember, be consistent. We're so consistent with bad habits that going cold turkey or trying to switch that bad habit into something else, I know it's hard. It's not something easy. You just have to be consistent, because everything is a mindset. Just continue to be consistent. Do your research. If you're looking into getting into CMOS, know that there are different brands and different companies out there. No shade on them, but there's a lot of different companies that do sell fake CMOS, bleached CMOS. There's different types of CMOS. So if you're looking to gain weight or lose weight, gain muscle, lose muscle, or build a better immune system, it's not just the Irish gold. There's different types. There's red sea moss, there's purple sea moss, there's green sea moss. Sea moss can also be consumed by mouth. Sometimes I make a face mask out of it. The face mask really clears up acne. It really makes your skin smooth. That's a product of mine that I also sell. So like I said, if you're looking to change your lifestyle in general, just main thing is be consistent. I know it's a real cliche, but health is wealth. It's very important that you take your health way more serious now throughout times versus, as a child, especially if you're an adult, your immune system is not the same. There's a whole bunch of new germs, a whole bunch of new viruses, a whole bunch of new bacteria out here.
Right.
Just try to be consistent.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for that. And definitely, when I share the episode, I'm going to tag your business so that people can reach out to you with questions and to order CMOS and stuff. So, this is going to be like the closing question, but I want to say that I'm definitely super proud of you, Vladimir. I've known you for a few years now, and I've seen you grow, and we've talked. We've had all kinds of conversations. You definitely have been a really great friend, so I just want you to know that I'm definitely super proud of you, and I'm glad that we've finally been able to do this interview. We've been talking about it for a while, and I'm glad to be able to have a platform to share your business. So thank you. Just thank you for what you do. And the last part is I want you to share a closing message on how listeners can, again, contact you and what motivates you, any projects you might have, and where people can find you.
Of course. Before I get into my closing message, I want to thank you for letting me be on your platform. Thank you for being a friend in general. Like, I've had good days, bad days. Me and your conversations have always, like, you're an amazing person. I hope you know that.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate to have you in my life, and I thank you so much for everything, from conversations to just, sending each other funny memes, talking about business. Our conversations go on for days. So.
Yeah.
With that being said, if you're listening, this is definitely a good podcast. Like I told you, my favorite episode was probably when I was going through my transition, and it was about emotions, and it was like, as a Black man, a man in general, it's all right for you to feel your feels. People could call you emotional, whatever it is. At the end of the day, we all got to realize we're human. So it's important for you to, if you feel a certain way, speak on it. Or change your surroundings, or change yourself, so that way you won't feel that way anymore. I feel like we all throughout life deserve happiness. Just like it says in the Constitution, the pursuit of happiness. We all deserve that type of happiness. We all deserve love. We all deserve good health. But in order for us to pursue that happiness, pursue that good health, be different, you have to actually take the steps. You actually have to put in the work. The Most High, our Maker is gonna be there. Your story's already written. You get what I'm saying? But
Right.
don't deflect from being great.
Yes.
So just be great.
Yeah.
Try to be great. Try to be different.
Thank you. I love that. Okay, so that wraps up the episode. Again, this is Black Hippie Lounge. I'm your host, Chanel, and thank you, Vladimir, again for coming on the Black Hippie Lounge. I will share the episode today so that listeners can be able to hear what we talked about. And like I said, I will tag your page so that people can reach out to you, make some purchases, get some sales, and really get this share just more of the information about your Seamoss. Because again, I've had it. I need to re-up actually on my supply.
I got some new projects that I'm going to be working on too. I'm trying to find different more antioxidants to actually infuse with the Seamoss as well as the fruit.
Okay.
So be on the lookout for like blue spirulina. There's going to be a few other ones that I'm gonna be going public real soon about. Again, you can find us at From Us For You Seamoss on Instagram. I'm also working on my business page, so just be patient with me. That way, you'll be able to place orders through the actual website itself. But until then, you can just contact me on Instagram, From Us For You Seamoss. Again, from _us_ from us for _you Seamoss. You'll find us. Well, she'll tag us. You'll let us know. God bless you all. So now, thank you again. I appreciate you. Nothing but love and respect. Appreciate everything you're doing.
Thank you. Okay, so that wraps up the episode. And again, like I said, I will tag the business. You can contact Vladimir, and to have a great rest of your Sunday and start your week.
Thank you.
Recording stopped.
Meditate, manifest, invest in you. Join me on my spiritual journey as I elevate myself and like-minded listeners to a higher level mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you for listening. This is Black Hippie Lounge, and I am your host, Chanel.